Unfortunately, Bickies has picked up a cut track, so she's going to sit in the penalty box. Bama made her way through. She's picked up 4 points for Sun State.
You keep going.
So we see now for Sun State, that's Chan Solo taking on 404. That's Nerdinator for Richter City. But getting through out front, picking up lead jammer, Sun State rather, that is Chan Solo. Nice bit of defensive work there by Bickies trying to get Chan to the outside part of the track on the back straight, but it didn't work. Chan Solo gets through, picks up the 5-point haul. Speedy Pack now making his way down the main straightaway. And Chan Solo picked up another 4 points. Seen enough and called it off. So we have a lead change early stages, first period in this game. It sees Sun State on 14 with Richter City on 11. As Princess Slayer and Bama on the GMAC Jammer start line get themselves set. We're underway, and it's Bama working to the inside part of the track. Now being met quite solidly by the Richter defence, and they're trying to work her to the outside of the track. And the action now gets themselves way through turn 2, and out front picking up lead jammer. It is Bama for Sun State Roller Girls, but hot on her heels it is Princess Slayer as the pack now picks up speed. And unfortunately for both teams, they're picking up no points in that jam. And as Chancellor up against Janie Dodgem. And the two jammers on track now. And Janie just knocked to the outside part of the track, recycled to mid-main part there, and she's now working really hard at the front. Meanwhile, out front, picking up lead jammer for Sun State, it is Chan Solo. So that's the initial done. It's now a point scoring pass for Chan and the Sun State girls. And in doing so, picks up the 4 points, calls it off.
Good for now.
As we see Bama for Sun State up against Nerdiator for Richter City. And neither jam are getting through. Actually, both of them stumbling upon one another there, heading into turn 1. But getting through and getting lead is a Nerdiator for Richter City. Bama got hit to the outside and recycled back to mid-main straight there and has to start all over again. And meanwhile out front, Nerdiator and Richter City getting the 5 points on offer there. It's a Grand Slam 5-point haul for Nerdiator. It's still Bama for Sun State. Having a tough old time of it down into turn one, but manages to get on through and has the initial now all done. And Nerdiator was pretty much aware of where Bama was and picked up the points and called it off. Have another lead change there. Was just on 21 minutes in his first half remaining. It sees Richter City on 21 with Sun State on 18. I'll tell you what, if it keeps up like this, we're going to have one heck of a game, ladies and gentlemen, as we see the two jammers there, Princess Slayer and Chan Solo, respectively. And both jammers very, very quick, but Chan Solo even quicker. Work to the outside line there, getting through, picking up lead jammer for Sun State. Meanwhile, back on turn one, Princess Slayer is met quite solidly by the Sun State defence. That triangle working overtime to keep her exactly where they want her. And that's not getting through and scoring points. Nice defensive work there by Richter, just momentarily knocking Chan to the outside of the track. She reformed and got on through and picking up a Grand Slam 5-point haul for herself and SSRG, bringing about another lead change. Unfortunately though for Kem, she's picked up a cut track, so she's going to spend time now in the Garage Project penalty box. As we turn our attention back to turn three here, and Chan Solo, who's about to be met by the Richter defence. And there's a pile up here coming out of turn four. One of the Sun State girls picking up a forearms call. Nice little 15-point jam there from Chan Solo. Just stretching the lead somewhat for Sun State. They see themselves on 33 with Richter City on 21. With just on 20 minutes to go in this first half. And it's going to be a power jam start for Bama and the Sun State girls. A little bit messy there going down into turn one. Some skaters falling down, but Richter defence more than up to the task as they continue to work strong out of turn two and holding up Bama. Unfortunately there for Bickies, it looks like she's picked up a multiplayer, so she'll make her way off to the Garage Project penalty box and she'll sit for 30 seconds, have a bit of a think about that. Meanwhile, back on track into turn two, it is Bama, lead jammer now, and just held up by a somewhat stagnant pack coming out of turn two on the back straightaway. Richter defence working overtime, trying to hold Bama up and doing it quite well. Not to be outdone. The Sun State defence just behind them are holding up Chemical Warfare. The star pass had been complete, so now Chemical Warfare finds herself as the active jammer. And up front it is Bama and the Sun State girls. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Tino Turner's picked up a penalty, so she's going to sit in the penalty box. Bama is now just working her way through out of turn four. And she picked up 9 points there for Sun State. They stretch out to 42 points with Richter on 21. As we see Janie Dodgem and Chan Solo on the GMAC sponsored jammer start line. Got this one underway. Both jammers caught at the back of the pack trying to work feverishly and get their way through. But it's Chan Solo on the inside line. She gets through, picks up lead jammer Sun State. And she's wasting no time in getting back around after completing her initial pass now on a scoring pass for Sun State. Met solely by the Richter defence. And she gets on through, does Chan Solo, picks up a grand slam, 5-point haul. And again, just slices on through the outside part of the track there. There's Chan Solo, picks up another 5 points. Meanwhile, back into turn 3 is where all the action's at. Oh! Unfortunately there, I think that was Red Hot Riot, just was not aware that Chan Solo was coming around and pretty much just skated straight on into her path. Anyway, Chan Solo picks herself up and continues on her merry way. She's seen enough and calls it off.
I've got nothing to say.
Whatever you see. Whatever you see. What do you see?
Hang on. We're gonna call a timeout. Compliment Vigi on her outfit.
So we find ourselves now on a team timeout. That is a Tiki Wine team timeout.
Name dropping.
Yeah.
Good job. They're the same on
So it's the Richter City girls calling this particular timeout. No doubt just to calm everything down and see if they can't just get the girls to refocus after a fairly hectic start to this game. Was neck and neck there for a little bit, but Sun State in the last 3 or 4 jams have just piled on some points and see themselves on 25 with Richter on 21.
Let's talk about Vigi's awesome outfit. Her boutfit.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Winner.
Yeah. We know. We see you. You look good.
So it looks like it's going to be 4:04. That's Nerdiator for Richter City. She's going to take on Bama for Sun State. Just getting some last-minute instructions by her coach. As both girls now just wait on the GMAC Motors-sponsored Jammer start line. Whistle goes, hammer down. This one's underway.
Ooh.
Some nice defensive work there by both teams, but getting through out front, it is Lee Jammer, Nerdiator for Richter City. Meanwhile, on turn 2, the pack working very hard there and trying to hold up that Sun State Jammer that is Bama. And meanwhile, all that's happening, Nerdiator for Richter City gets on through, picks up a 5-point haul. So the star pass had been done and completed, and Bad Reality had the star on her head ready to go, but Nerdiator was aware of that and had a bit of a look around to see what was happening and subsequently called it off, as all the good jammers do. Speaking of good jammers, we've got 2 ripping jammers on the start line now for Richter City. It is Princess Slayer up against Chan Solo out of Sun State. And both jammers really making the pack work and hopefully to their advantage. Chan Solo was the better on that one particular occasion. She found the outside line and gets on through, picks up lead Jammer. The Princess Slayer is not too far behind. She gives up around about a quarter track. Oh, and there's a bit of a pile up down there between turns 1 and 2. Both skaters pick themselves up. It looks like Chan Solo may have picked up 3 points. And we have an official timeout. The Tiaro Physiotherapy official timeout.
Good job.
So obviously there's a hell of a lot of roller derby still to come, ladies and gentlemen, not just here today, but globally speaking. as I'm sure we all get ourselves set for the champs over in the US in a few weeks' time. I know I'll be watching with a vested interest, obviously, in my home team, which is VRDL, name dropping. So hopefully they can do well and do what no other team has done before, and that's bring the Hydro back home and take it off American shores, which would be awesome. But really looking forward to that particular event, usually very, very late nights or early mornings or both. But there's still plenty of actions still to get through here today at QBR for 2017. So that's the official timeout done and dusted as Bama for Sun State has the jammer start line all to herself. This one's underway. And Bama wastes no time on getting through, picking up lead. Jammer for Sun State. Interesting setup there by Richter City coming off the turn 2 there. Basically spread themselves out across the track, awaiting for Bama to come through. All the action now is in between turns 3 and 4 down here. Unfortunately, Bubble O'Kill has picked up a stop block, so she'll find herself off in the Garage Project penalty box. Bama, though, making her way through and picking up a Grand Slam 5-point haul. As we see Janie Dodgem for Richter City up against Chan Solo of the Sun State variety. Both girls getting set now on the GMAC jammer start line. This one's underway. And there's Chan Solo battling on through again to pick up lead. Jammer for Sun State. Meanwhile, back on turn 1. Janie finding it just a bit difficult to work her way through the Sun State defence. Nice bit of defence there from the Richter girls pushing Chan Solo to the outside of the track. They had to recycle her to mid-main track. Meanwhile, coming off of turn 4 is Dodgem. Tried to get back and sneak a point, but unsuccessful on that particular occasion. With Chan Solo picking up 4 more points for Sun State. Sees them on 67 with just on 11 and a bit minutes to go in this first half. Richter City on 29. As Nerdiator and Bama set off from the GMAC sponsored jammer start line. Both girls willing to have a crack at each other as the defenses sort of set themselves out. Bama met really subtly there by the Richter defense and just trying to work her way through on the outside part of the track. One more blocker rather to get through. She does that, picks up lead. Jammer, Sun State. As Nerdiator dishes off the star to Tino Turner. Star pass complete. Unfortunately for Tino, she wasn't able to get through and pick up a cheeky 1 or 2 points. As we see Chan Solo and Princess Slayer on the GMAC Motors jammer start line. We get the whistle to get this one underway, and out front it is Princess Slayer working really hard against the tough defence that is Sun State. And not to be outdone, the Richter girls behind them also making it really difficult for Chan Solo to get through. And whilst all that's happening out front, it is Princess Slayer getting on through, picking up lead jammer for Richter City. Not to be outdone, Chan Solo gets her way through now, so that's the initial done. And Princess Leia, more aware of what was going on there, picked up her 12 points and called it off. As we have now for Richter City, that's Janie Dodgham getting through, picking up Lee Jammer, taking on, I believe it is Bama for Sun State. So all the action now is just coming into turn one, and that's where we find the Sun State girls defensively just really working Janie over there and giving her absolutely no room whatsoever. And the same could be said for the Richter blockers up front. Really making it really hard for Bama to get through, and took it to the outside part of the track and recycled her to the mid-main straight. She gets herself back on track, but only as far as turn one, and again met solidly by the Richter defence. Same can be said also up front for the Sun State defence. Both defences, I should say, are making it really hard for these jammers to get through. Which is what Dodgham does not want, considering she is lead jammer. She wants to be able to get through and get points. She manages to get on through. She manages to pick up 4 points and called the jam off.
Kirsty.
So correction there was actually 5 points on that previous jam, as Sun State are now taking a team timeout. Team timeouts, of course, brought to us this weekend by...
No. Which one? No. You do it. Sorry, thank you. Keep going.
So Tiki Wine's a proud sponsor of all team timeouts over the course of this weekend. Of course, a huge shout out to all our sponsors that have made this event possible. Our sponsors. I'm talking as if I'm like a bona fide Kiwi. I'm not. I'm an Aussie. But anyway, all good. MVP's out. Is that all teams in this? That's the end of the team timeout as we get this one underway, and it is Nerdiator for Richter City up against Chan Solo. And it's a pack, slowly moving pack at that. Works its way down into turn one. Some good defensive work there, unfortunately though, for Richter. Unfortunately, Nerdiator's picked up a cut track for Richter City, so she's going to sit in the Garage Project sponsored penalty box. And out front picking up lead jammer for Sun State, it is Chan Solo. And she now sets about getting some points. And she does just that. All 5, in fact, Grand Slam points going the way of Chan Solo and the Sun State girls. And it's a 4-3 blocker advantage going the way of the Sun State girls. So the Richter girls are going to have to work super hard now to try and hold her up. And they do pretty good. They manage to get through and reform on her really quickly. And Sure Trouble makes her way back on the track. And the Richter girls really pick it up and reform together and make it really difficult for Chan Solo coming off of turn 4. And Chan's trying to do absolutely everything she can to work that defensive laterally across the track, but Richter more than up for the challenge. And holding on to Chansol, but she finds a bit of a gap on the inside and gets on through. And she picks up 5 points in the process. And upon instruction from the bench coach, calls it off. So next up on the GMAC sponsored Jammer start line, it is Princess Slayer up against Bama. Both teams more than happy to get drawn back on the opposing jammer, but out front and getting lead jammer, it is Princess Slayer for Richter City. And she sets about trying to get points, and she does, gets on through nicely, picks up all 5 Grand Slam points. As Bama makes her way through the pack now, initial pass done, scoring pass now on offer for her. But Princess Slayer was awake to that and called it off. And she picked up 7 points in the process. So we're just a tick over 4.5 minutes remaining in this first half. Sun State Roller Girls find themselves on 81 with Richter City on 45. As we see Janie Dodgham and Chan Solo on the GMAC Jammer start line. And it's frantic off the start line, but it's Chan Solo again finding a gap and getting through, picking up lead jammer for Sun State. And met solidly down into turn 1 by the girls there from Richter City who are waiting for her and giving her a fair old workout, it has to be said. Meanwhile, out front, the same could be said for the Sun State girls, blocking exceptionally well. Oh, that is some great positional blocking there from Sun State, but Janie Dodgham did find a way through. Chance Holler was aware of that and called it off. And picking up 4 points along the way. So next up on the GMAC Jammer sponsored Jammer line, we have Bama for Sun State up against Nerdiator for Richter City. And the drawback's on. Bama just trying to work her way to the inside, but to no effect. But out front, it is Nerdiator for Richter City. She gets through, picks up lead jammer. Now, unfortunately there for Nerdiator, couldn't quite get through, and the star pass had been made by Sun State. Bad Reality was just about set to get on through and try and score some points, but Nerdiator was well aware of what was going on there and called it off. As we see Chan, Solo and Princess Slayer again to resume hostilities on the GMAC sponsored Jammer start line. Hand down, whistle blown. Chan Solo sets off on her merry way, trying to work that inside line, and she does. Gets through Sun State. And Chan Solo, lead jammer. And Princess Slayer, she gets her way through the pack as well. Initial done. And she picked up a point there for Richter City.
One is better than none. One is better than none.
This is true. One is better than none. And Chan Solo just picking up the 3 points there for Sun State. And it's going to be a 4-3 blocker advantage going in the way of the Richter girls. As we see Janie versus Bama of the Sun State variety. Both girls going super hard at it as they make their way into turn 1. But the Richter girls more than ready to go. We have Lee Jammer, and it is Janie Dodgem for Richter City. Gets out front, picks up Lee Jammer status. Meanwhile, all the action's back down in turn 4, and Bam is still fighting hard to get through. And the Richter City girls giving her absolutely nothing to work with. Nice bit of defensive work there. She's been pushed to the inside. Unfortunately, they're drawing a penalty for Kazan, so she's going to sit in the penalty box. And Janie Dodgem's getting through, getting all the points. And she picked up 9 points. Will we get another jam?
One more.
The answer to that is yes, we will, as we see Chan Solo up against Nerdiator. We get this one underway. And just like that, wasting no time getting through the pack is Chan Solo, and she picks up lead jammer for Sun State. And Chan Solo picks up 4 points for Sun State and calls it off. Just a quick announcement to all teams. Can you please submit maximum 3 players for the MVP game later on this afternoon? That's to all teams. Please make sure you submit your maximum 3 players for the All-Star game later on this afternoon. Or the All-Star bout, I guess. 30-second call just been handed out, and it is Bama for Sun State. Up against Slayer for Richter City. As the second half gets underway, Bama working away really hard there at the back of the pack, just trying to find a gap. But out front it is Princess Slayer for Richter City getting on through, picking up lead Jammer. And not to be outdone, it is Bama for Sun State. She gets her way through now. Initial pass done. This is now a scoring pass for her, but unfortunately she's not going to be able to get through and get any points. Princess Slayer picking up 4 points for Richter City. It's next up on the Jammer start line. We have Chan Solo, and she's going to be taking on Janie Dodgem for Richter. And it is Janie getting through the pack and picking up lead. Jammer. Chan Solo just momentarily caught up there. Just on turn 2, but she manages to get her way through. Initial pass rather done for her, so she's now on a scoring. And Janie just picking up the 2 points there, but saw that Chan was coming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, decided to call that one off. So early stages of the second half, and Richter just slowly clawing their way back into this game. Not that they were out of it with only a 30-odd point margin at half time, but some points is better than no points.
Exactly.
As Nerdiator for Richter City on the track now with Bama for Sun State. Bama was just taken to the inside part of the track there and recycled to mid-main straight. But out front, again, Nerdiator for Richter City picking up lead Jammer. And she's giving up around about a quarter track to Bama. He's hell-bent on trying to catch her down and seeing if she can't pick up some points along the way. Nerdiator does pick up 2 points, and indeed so does Bama. So good effort there by Bama to get her way back into the pack and pick up some points. As we see Princess Slayer and Chan Solo on the GMAC sponsored Jammer start line. And to meet them is a full complement of blockers from both teams. As up near the pivot line, the Sun State girls go to work on trying to stop Princess Slayer getting through, and Princess Slayer more than up for the task. Meanwhile, mid-main straight, Chan Solo has been met very solidly by the Richter defence. But getting on through, picking up lead Jammer is Princess Slayer for Richter City as she goes about now picking up some points. And she does. In fact, she picks up 3 points for Richter City, moving them along to 68. Sun State on 94. Janie Dodgem now is going to be coming up against Bama for Sun State. And it's a 3-2 blocker advantage going the way of the Sun State girls as they draw themselves back now to go about making life really difficult for Janie to get through. thus opening the door for Bam, and she does get on through and picks up lead jammer for Sun State. Meanwhile, back on turn 1, Janie Dodgham finding it just a little bit difficult to get through the Sun State defence. As slowly but surely for Richter City, the cavalry arrive out of the penalty box. And the same for Sun State. We have a clear penalty box, so full complement of blockers now on track for both teams. Both jammers going about doing what they do best. Bama getting on through and picking up 5 points. It's a second 5-point Grand Slam haul for Bama in this particular jam. And in doing so, taking the Sun State girls over the 100-point mark. And she gets on through again, picked up another 5 Grand Slam points. Now the pack starts to get a little bit of speed about it. They're going to make it really difficult for Bama to try and get through. The star pass has been complete, so Chemical Warfare has a star on her head now, but unfortunately for Chem, she just couldn't quite get the pack there. Nice little jam there for Sun State girls, picking up 15 points. As we see 404, that's Nerdiator for Richter City up against Chan Solo for Sun State girls. Empty penalty box means we've got a full complement of blockers on track. This one gets underway. Chan wanted to work that inside line and does so to effect, picking up lead jammer for Sun State. Unfortunately though for Nerdiator, just getting knocked out to the outside part of the track down there in turn 1, been recycled. So she's going to have to start all over again. But she does get her way through. Unfortunately for Nerdiator on that particular occasion, she couldn't get up to the pack quick enough and get some points, and Chan Solo was more than aware of that. Picked up 9 points herself, stretching out the Sun State lead to 118 over Richter City at 68. As we see Princess Slayer for Richter City set to take on Bama for Sun State. And Bama just finding the inside line nicely there, getting on through and picking up lead jammer for Sun State. Unfortunately though for Richter City and Princess Slayer, she's in the penalty box, the Garage Project penalty box. And meanwhile, all the action's now back on turn 1. Both defenses working really hard. Richter City working extremely hard coming out of turn 2, doing everything they can to hold up Bama in the process. And they're actually doing it to good effect. Doing it to really good effect as we make our way down into turn 3. Nice little hit to the outside part of the track. So Bama will get recycled almost mid-turn 2. And has a look at the situation and says, no, thank you. And calls that one off. So Janie Dodgham and Chan Solo await on the GMAC sponsored jammer start line. Oh, with some nice footwork and a little bit of a twist and turn, it is Janie Dodgham from Richter City getting on through, picking up lead jammer. Meanwhile, Chan Solo having a bit of a tough old time of it out of turn 1, met very solidly by the Richter defence. Meanwhile, all that was going on, Janie Dodgham gets on through, picks up a Grand Slam 5-point haul. Now Chan Solo finds her way through the pack. That's the initial pass done for her, but unfortunately she couldn't get back to the pack and pick up a cheeky couple of points. Janie was very much aware of that and called it off. There's 7 points picked up there by Richter City, sees them on 75 with Sunstate on 123. As we see Bama and Nerdiator are waiting on the GMAC Jammer start line. And as quick as that, Bama gets on through, picks up lead jammer for Sunstate. And with it all to do now, she's met with the very strong Richter City defence down in turn 1. Very tight pack down there going into turn 2. Not much speed about it, but working to the outside line, making hay while the sun shines was Bama, and she found a gap and made her way through. And in doing so, picked up the 5 points. And in doing that, also called the jam off. So Chan Solo and Princess Slayer await on the GMAC jammer start line. Empty penalty box means we've got a full complement of blockers for both teams on the track. But out front, picking up lead jammer, it is Princess Slayer, but hot on her heels, it is Chan Solo. Interesting to see what's going to happen here. Do we get a little bit of jammer on jammer action? Princess Slayer picks up a solitary 1 point. Very good effort by her. Usually in situations like that, it's perceived pressure by the leading jammer. And the trailing jammer tends to put the perceived pressure on and get the other jammer to call it off. But Princess Slayer was not going to have any of that. She wanted to get a point, and she did. And it's Bama for Sunstate. She's taken on JD Dodgem for Richter City. Going into turn 1 with a bit of a twist and a turn. It is. No, it's not. Unfortunately for Jane, she's picked up a track cut, so she will spend 30 seconds in the Garage Project penalty box. Lead jammer has been awarded to Bama and the Sunstate girls. So she'll set about now trying to get some points. But she's met quite solidly in turn 3 by the Richter defence. Really making it hard for her to get through. But then the cavalry arrive, and some good oath by Red Hot right there just to bust it up and make some space there for Bama. And so Janie Dodgem now makes her way back on track after serving her penalty. And straight into a fierce wall of Sunstate blockers. Meanwhile, out front, it is Bama getting the points for Sunstate. As all the action now moves into turn 2. And Bama picks up another 4 points there. So working real hard is Janie Dodgem, so she finds her way through now. And the initial done, and that's where that one's going to stay. So Bama picking up 12 points in that particular jam, and unfortunately though for the Richter girls, no points on that one. So we find ourselves under another team timeout. Of course, this weekend, the team timeouts have been sponsored by Tiki Wines. Just a chance now for the Richter coach just to settle things down and get the girls refocused. Before she sends them back out on track to see if they can't bridge this gap between themselves and Sun State girls, who have stretched the lead with just on 16 and a quarter minutes remaining in this game. The Sun State girls are 140 with Richter City on 76. So that's a team timeout done and dusted. Looks like we're going to have Nerdiator for Richter City taking on Chan Solo of the Sun State variety. And both girls are now underway, trying to fight their way through the pack. Doing it first and slightly better is Nerdiator for Richter, sorry. Gets through, picks up lead jammer. Now setting about trying to get some points, but met quite solidly there by the Sun State girls down there in turn 2. And takes a little bit of a tumble down there on the back straightaway. But she picks up 4 points, gets up with a bit of a smile. As we see Bama for Sun State taking on Princess Leia for Richter City. This one's underway. And as quick as that, Bama working the inside line beautifully up on her toe tops and just running through, picking up lead jammer for Sun State. Meanwhile, back in turn 2, it is Princess Leia giving up roughly a quarter track to Bama. And Bama just looking behind, aware of that, just calls it off. And picking up 4 points in the process. So Janie Dodgem for Richter City, about to take on Chan Solo out of Sun State. Both girls working really hard to try and bust their way through, but coming out of turn 1 on the outside line, it is Chan Solo. She is your lead jammer for Sun State. Unfortunately though for Janie, just got pushed to the outside, and that's a recycle back, almost back into turn 1, so she's had to start that all over again. Meanwhile, all that's been going on, Chan Solo's picked up 5-point grand slam. The star pass has been complete. Unfortunately though for Tino, she couldn't get back to the pack and pick up some points. So we have Bama for Sun State taking on Nerdiator for Richter City on the GMAC Motors sponsored jammer start line. Whistle blown, hammer down. This one's underway. And both jammers working really, really hard to try and get through the pack out front. Nerdiator's trying to take on the Sun State defense, but further afield it is Bama. She gets on through and she picks up lead jammer for Sun State. Initial pass all done and dusted. She's now setting about getting some more points. It's unfortunately for Nerd, just really getting a decent old working over there and into turn 1. And the Sun State girls defense is working overtime. That's a big hit there. Unfortunately, that was a high block on the Sun State skater there. I think that was Red Hot Riot, so she'll sit for 30 seconds in the Garage Project penalty box. All's good though. Nerds goes over and gives her a high five. That's all cool. It's going to be a 4-3 blocker advantage going the way of Richter City. As Princess Slayer and Chance Solo eagerly await. Whistle blowing. And as quick as you like, it is Princess Slayer getting through, That was... So we will call that one dead. Sometimes you can be that eager to get a head start. Take two, folks, so here we go again. Whistle blown, hammer down. There's Chance Solo taking on Princess Slayer. Princess Slayer knocked to the outside of the track and recycled back into turn 4. And gets back on it straight away. And getting on through and picking up lead jammer is Princess Slayer. Some good defensive work by the Richter girls, putting Chance Solo to the outside of the track and recycling her back into turn 4. Meanwhile, out front, Princess Slayer picking up Grand Slam, 5 points for her and the Richter girls. Oh, nice bit of footwork there by Princess Slayer on the outside of the track. Bit of a twist, bit of a turn, gets on through. Another Grand Slam, 5-point haul for her. Meanwhile, all the action now down into turn 4. And the Richter girls doing some great defensive work, holding Chance Solo up. And Princess Slayer there taken to the inside track. Dusts herself back off, gets back on. She's going to get recycled back. Sets about now, trying to get some more points. Quick little juke to the outside part of the track. She does just that, picking up a Grand Slam 5-point haul for her and Richter. This is proving to be a nice little jam for Richter City. And Sun State girls working overtime there, coming out of turn 2. And Princess Slayer sees a nice little gap on the inside, and she took that, picking up another 5-point Grand Slam haul. Meanwhile, back on turn 4, a Chance Solo, and the Richter girls defensively do battle again. And unfortunately, though, for Princess Slayer, she's picked up a back block. So she's going to sit for 30 seconds in the Garage Project penalty box. Hence, that's going to bring about a power jam for Sun State going into this next jam, but a nice 20-point jam there by Princess Slayer. As we see ourselves under an official timeout. Of course, official timeouts this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, brought to us by Tiaro Physiotherapy. Sun State girls there in a nice little tight huddle, just reminding each other exactly what they need to do. Of course, that 15-point jam bringing the ton up for Richter City, sees them on 100. 59 points adrift to Sun State girls on 159. It was just a tick under 9.5 minutes to go in this game. So that's the official timeout, all done and dusted. And it is Bama all by her lonesome there as she sets about her power jam start and wastes no time on getting on through. She is your lead jammer. And she makes her way down now into turn 1 and met solidly there by the Richter defense, but gets her way through quite quickly. and in the process picking up a Grand Slam 5-point haul. As the cavalry now arrive for Richter City, and Princess Leia in particular makes her way now back on track. So but Bama is very much aware of what was going on there, and as soon as she saw that Slayer was back on track and with the helmet panty on, decided to call that one. And in the process, picking up 11 points for Sun State. Just pushes their lead out now to 70. Sun State Roller Girls on 170 with Richter City on 100. With just on 8 1/4 minutes remaining in this game. A full complement of blockers on deck as we see Chan Solo for Sun State taking on Janie Dodgem, but out front picking up lead jammer, it is Chan Solo. And the star pass from Richter City has been complete, so that's Tino Turner now picking up the active jammer status. Unfortunately though for Tino, not able to score some points. And Sun State and Chan Solo picking up 3. So Nerdy Ada and Bama to get things going in this next jam as they eagerly await on the GMAC Motors sponsored jammer start line. And this one's underway and both girls ready to pounce and go straight for the opposing blockers. As the pack now just about exiting turn 2. Oh, some great work by Red Hot Right, some one-on-one blocking there. But it is Nerd getting through, picking up lead jammer for Richter. But what an amazing effort by Red Hot Right just to try and slow her up. But Nerdy 80 gets on through, picks up her 4 points. And calls it off. So we are under a team timeout that's being called by Sun State. And of course, the team timeouts this weekend brought to us by Tiki Wines. That's totally what I would do. So it's Chan Solo for Sun State taking on Princess Leia for Richter City, and as quick as you can blink, Chan Solo is through, picks up lead jammer for Sun State. They're giving up around about a half track to Princess Leia. Nice bit of defensive work there by the Richter girls. Off of turn 2, just knocking Chan Solo to the inside part of the track. But Chan Solo more than up to the task and makes her way through and picks up 4 points, as does Princess Leia. Oh, nice defensive work there by the Richter girls. Not to be outdone was the Sun State girls, taking Princess Leia almost back into turn 3, but she gets back on track now and sets about trying to get her way through the Sun State defense. Meanwhile, out front it is Chan Solo, and she picks up another 4 points for the Sun State girls. Princess Leia just held up there in turn 1. And Tino Turner accepted the star pass. Star pass complete, but unfortunately for Tino, not able to get any points on that particular occasion. With Chan Solo picking up 13 points, extending the SSRG lead over Richter, 186 to 112. As Bama is set to take on Janie Dodgem from Richter City. As this one gets underway, my co-host thinks that it's very funny the way I call Bama, but that's okay. And it is Bama out front for the Sun State girls. She picks up lead jammer. Meanwhile, all the action still very much on turns 1 and 2. And Janie just finding it a little bit difficult there with the solid defensive work of Sun State. Same can be said by the Richter girls, who are just holding Bama up there and making life just a little bit difficult for her. But with a bit of toe stop work and a twist and a turn, she gets on through, picks up 5 Grand Slam points. Not to be outdone, giving up probably a quarter of a track is Janie Dodgem, rather, for Richter City, but she's been held up on the back straightaway by the Sun State defence and working really hard there, trying to get her way through is Janie. Oh, some fantastic footwork there by Janie Dodgem, just will not give up, keeping herself on track, just does not want to get hit off, but the Sun State girls defensively there making life very, very difficult for her. Meanwhile, all that was going on behind her. It is Bama with a 5-point Grand Slam pass. As Bama now just momentarily held up rather in turn 1, but finds a little bit of a gap on the inside line and picks up another 5 points for her and the Sun State girls. It's proving to be a nice jam for Bama, and that's the end of that one. 29 points for Bama in that last jam. In the process, taking the Sun State total to 216. And Richter City on 120. As Chan Solo and Nerdiator set themselves to once again do battle. Both jammers really finding it tough going early stage of this jam, but out front with some fancy footwork, it is Nerdiator for Richter City. She gets on through, picks up lead jammer. Not to be outdone is Chan Solo, and nice move there by Nerdiator to call that one off. She picks up 4 points. She picks up 3 points. She does pick up 3 points. And Chancellor picking up 4. We have timeout, team timeout, called by Sun State, of course. Tiki Wines sponsoring the team timeouts this weekend, which means we will see one more jam. Wake up, co-host, wake up. As we see, for Sunset, that's Bama up against Princess Leia for Richter City in what will be the final jam of this game. And just like that, Bama gets on through, picks up lead jammer for the Sunstate girls. And now really pretty much just controlling this jam now. It's really up to her, so what she wants to do and how long she wants to do it. And she doesn't want to do it for all that long, and that's it. Brings about an end to this game between Sunstate Roller Girls and Richter City. It's an unofficial score, so we'll just wait for the score refs and the scorekeepers to finalise everything. You know what I mean. Well, they are refs and they score. Jam refs. Is that official? Is that an official score? Okay. Fine. I know. So both teams there just giving themselves complimentary hugs. Make your way down on track, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully the girls will do a bit of a skate around, give some high fives, show the love, all that sort of stuff. We're just awaiting the final score. So hopefully the girls have seen it. Some of the fans have come on down to track side and they want to give a high five. And some of the Sunstate girls give us their waves. Thank you guys, well done. Red Hot Right, obviously very, very happy with her work. As Richter City said about giving their high fives to some of the fans that have come down on the track, and no doubt the Sunstate girls will do likewise. Richter and Bama. Done true by my Aussie accent. As the Richter girls now make their way around and the Sunstate girls do likewise. Totally confirmed. I'll confirm it then. Give us high fives. Give us high fives. Yeah. So we're just going to keep the score on the scoreboard for a little longer, so both teams can have a bit of a photo session.